if we could address you directly right now.
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask me.
There are a lot of people around town that have the same question.
Brush my teeth. I'm gonna get washed in the morning.
I can't confirm or deny.
You know, just keep going a little bit longer here, Mike. Keep going a little bit longer.
WTKW HD2 Bridgeport, ESPN Radio. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, welcome into ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Matt Lesnick alongside Brooke Kilgore, Izzy Sy. How are we doing today?
We're doing. We're getting through the week.
Well, yeah, getting through the week. Excited to talk some ball today.
Yeah, well, with that, let's just get right into it. Syracuse travels to Miami tonight, men's team, to take on the Hurricanes, coming off a 3 overtime win against Boston College at the Dome. Now, that game was a thriller, to say the least. I mean, so many lead changes in those last couple minutes, and that just led into just a great ending.
It felt like both teams wanted to give each other the game down the stretch, but Syracuse was able to pull out the victory. But a couple big themes that I wanted to touch on. Eddie Lampkin, another big game, 14 points, 18 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds. He was aggressive on the glass. That was a welcome sight. He played 49 minutes as well. J.J. Starling, another great game. He had 28 points. But, again, theme for the Orange. They couldn't shoot from the three-point line, and they couldn't hit at the free throw line. They were 18 of 32 on free throws. They were 7 of 19 from three-point range, which isn't bad. But again, a growing theme this season, as it's been a little bit disappointing for the Orange. But they were still able to get the win and get a little bit of cushion so they can qualify for the ACC tournament.
Well, and definitely Syracuse had the opportunity to put it away at the end of regulation. I remember standing outside the Dome waiting for the SD card to come for Citrus TV and hearing, having my photog text me and say, like, hey, we're going to an overtime. And I was kind of like, I thought we were supposed to hit that last free throw. Like, we should have been fine. J.J. Starling should have been there. An ironic stat, though, J.J. Starling actually put up a career high points against Youngstown State. We all know that game went to double overtime. So it's kind of ironic to see that he's putting up these really high numbers. I know you also have more time to play with those extra minutes there, but he seems to do really well under pressure from what we're seeing.
Yeah, and he was huge for the Orange down the stretch. And, he's been Syracuse's best player of all year. I don't really think that's that much of a conversation, but he made the plays that he needed to make down the stretch of that game. On the Boston College side of things, though, Donald Hand Jr., 28 points. He had a big game. We knew that he was going to be a key for BC coming into this one, and he did not disappoint, almost willing them to victory at times. But, again, the Orange, they've had trouble containing high-level, high-scoring guards this season, and Hand was just another guy that went over 20.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Orange did a good job of, for the most part, containing everyone else. Joshua Beadle still went 7 of 8. As you mentioned, Hand got his. But one thing we've been seeing all season is Eddie Lampkin putting up those big rebounding numbers. And he did it again today, 14 and 18. And it was a big key. I mean, the Orange got a lot of offensive boards, and he was a big part of that.
Yeah, 17 offensive rebounds to BC's 14. And, yeah, like you said, Lampkin, he's been huge on the boards. Would have liked a little more better touch around the rim. He was 6 of 12.
I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. 6 of 12 from the field. Then he was 2 of 6 from the free-throw line as well. But he was still huge for Syracuse. They don't win that game without him. And they play Miami tonight. The worst team in the ACC this year, and just 2 years ago, this Hurricanes team was in the Final Four. The last 2 years have been a bit of down years for them. They've dealt with some injuries this year, and they lost some guys from last year's team as well.
They lost their coach.
Yeah, lost their coach. Larinaga resigning. Omir's at Baylor now. Nigel Pack's only played 9 games this season. He's still dealing with a foot injury. But this game is a must-win for Syracuse, in my opinion. Just to get some momentum as they head into the ACC tournament, and maybe even get a little bit of a higher seed.
Yeah. Were you guys there in the Dome last season when Quadir Copeland hit that buzzer beater?
Yes, I was.
What was that like?
Yeah, and it's looking like it's going to be my best memory of Syracuse basketball program.
Do you remember what happened?
Yes, I do remember what happened. So, funny story. So, Quadir hits the game winner, right? So, yeah, we're all cheering like, yeah, and then Matt's phone just goes flying. And then we're like celebrating the game winner like, yeah, but we're also like trying to look for his phone at the same time. But, yeah, that's one of the core memories from that game.
That was one of the most stressful yet like fun times I've ever had.
It only took us a few minutes to find the phone. Anyway.
It did. I mean, some guy just handed it to me. I mean, I still have the video of the guys picking it up, and they took.
Oh, you were recording when it went flying?
I was recording. Yep.
Yeah.
And the guys, they found it, and they were taking pictures on my phone. But
that won't happen again this year because the game's in Miami. But yeah, a core memory for us. But yeah, no, it's a matchup between two teams that are in the midst of a disappointing year. More so for Miami, only 1-10 in conference play, which is something that we did not expect. They are not going to make the ACC tournament. It looks like, barring a miracle run down the stretch. But 5-18 overall. Syracuse, they just need to pull it out. That's just what they need to do.
What do you think is the key to getting a victory? Because again, this is a Miami team that is a shell of what they were just 2 years ago. What do you think the key is? I
think the key is leaning on Starling and Lampkin once again. They've been two of your best players throughout the season. As much as Lampkin has his shortcomings, he's still been able to produce. I think he'll be able to produce against a thin Miami front line. This is a younger Miami team as well. They have a lot of freshmen. They have guys that playing heavy minutes. Jaleel Bethea, 5-star that they brought in. He hasn't really had the year that he's been hoping to have. But Syracuse, they're going to have the advantage with the guard play because of Starling alone. In the Orange, they should honestly have two of the best players on the court, and they need to take advantage of that.
Well, yeah, something interesting that we're also going to have to see. Syracuse does have the 4th most rebounds, at least in the ACC, but I feel like that's still been a bit of a struggle, like playing in the paint, making sure you're getting those boards and taking them and appreciating them. I mean, Miami, they're currently ranking 5th in the ACC in field goal percentage overall, 47%. Syracuse really needs to lock down and play their defense. I think we saw a little bit of that with Boston College, allowing teams to kind of come back in, and that was a game that, I don't know, I personally thought that they were going to run away with, although they did have a bit of a close matchup earlier in the month when they, won 79-70 earlier against Boston College, but it's going to be a bit of an interesting game to say the least. I mean, they're averaging double figures. They have Austin Swartz has the most made 3-pointers on the team with 25 so far this season. The Orange just really have to play consistently and really work those boards, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, and this Miami team, they're going to be leaning on Matthew Cleveland a lot in this one. He's their leading scorer, 16 points every game, 52% from the field, 37% from 3-point range. So he's been efficient this season. The lone bright spot, honestly, for this Hurricanes offense. But as a team, they're only shooting 32% from 3. We know that's been a weakness for the Orange as well. So if this game goes into the inside, into the paint, battle on the boards, things of that sort, I think the Orange have the advantage.
Now, one thing you had mentioned, and you both mentioned, was the offensive rebounding and the rebounding in general, but kind of the lack of inside presence for the Orange. And I think a lot of that has to do with, I would say, the struggles around the rim with Eddie Lampkin. I mean, we mentioned how the kind of the lack of touch at the rim, and for a guy his size and putting up those rebounding numbers, you would expect to see maybe a little more offensive production. But I mean, they should be able to get, as you mentioned, the advantage inside tonight.
Yeah, no, they should. And get to 6 conference wins on the year. I know it hasn't been the year that we wanted to see from the Orange. It's tracking to be a step back from last year. But getting on any momentum you can, honestly, to end the season, I feel like would be any small victory that you can get is important.
Especially with the recent news that Donnie Freeman will be out for the year.
Yeah, which is really disappointing because he was Syracuse's highest rated recruit since Melo. So we had high expectations, high hopes for him. He didn't really get into a rhythm even in the games that he played. But we saw some flashes of greatness, of what he can be. And now the attention turns to, is he going to declare for the NBA draft?
Just about to say.
Will he come back to Syracuse? Will he transfer to another school? We don't know. But yeah, it sucks to see that Donnie Freeman will be out for the year.
I guess something that we also kind of have to talk about is, let's talk a little bit about the head coaches of the NCAA, past and present, their first 2 years. On here, Dean Smith for UNC. He went 12-12 his first season, but then improved 15-9. Coached K for Duke, 17-13, and then 10-17, and then Boeheim, 26-4 his first season, and then his second season, 22-6. Autry was handed a very nicely compiled team, at least in my opinion. Yes, there were still weaknesses, things we needed to see change differently, but Judah Mintz, you couldn't argue with the greatness there. 20-12 that first season, and now it's shaping up. We're currently at 11-13. Guys, what are you seeing in the second season?
You want to take this one?
I can. I mean, look, I've been overall disappointed. I mean, I think the bigger difference with that is I feel like, look, those are 3 of the best coaches of all time. I mean, I still need, obviously, look, 2 seasons, you cannot make the argument that's not enough, but I just feel like from what the product I'm seeing on the court, regardless of the recruits or whatever, I just feel like it's been just not good. I feel like I'm watching there's no offensive game plan, and it just feels like it's just disorganized. I'm watching games, and it feels like there's kind of an unawareness there.
Yes.
I mean, especially against the better teams, it feels like I've seen so many shot clock violations where the players on the court just didn't know how much time was left. So I just feel like it's been more so not. I don't see much progress. I feel like with those coaches. I mean, look, I wasn't born for any of their first and second seasons.
None of us were.
But I'm sure there was some sort of progress in some way. I'm not seeing any from this Orange team.
Yeah, just to echo off of that, the offense for me is the big thing, because when we were at the Dome for the Duke game, and yeah, Duke's the best team in the ACC, probably one of the best teams. They are one of the best teams in the country, but just feels like a lot of standing around on offense.
That's what,
you know, and you know, it's JJ Starling here, take a screen, hopefully like go to the basket, hit a jump shot, or hit Eddie Lampkin on a roll, something of that sort. And a few players have taken a step back as well, and most notably Chris Bell. Chris Bell was supposed to take a step forward. I mentioned that a couple weeks back, but he was supposed to be the Orange's second or third best player this year, and I don't even think he's their 4th best player at this point. He's been really disappointing. He was expected, to be one of the guys on the team, one of the better players on Syracuse, and maybe be an underrated NBA draft prospect. He's 6'8", can shoot the ball. He showed flashes of defensive potential last season, but we just haven't seen that this year. His efficiency's down across the board. He's barely over 30% from 3, so I feel like that's played a big role. But I feel like for Coach Autry, look, it's only been 2 years, and you can only learn so much in 2 years, right? He still needs to adjust and get into that year 3, year 4, hopefully, if he gets to that point. Just gain more experience, gain more schematic knowledge. I feel like that'll be important for him. But yeah, I've been disappointed with Syracuse overall. I expected more this season, but there have been factors outside of Autry that have hindered this team's success.
Oh, 100%. And then you're losing Donnie Freeman, one of your star guards. Like we mentioned earlier, we don't know what his future is really going to look like. But, I mean, you also don't know what the future of this team is going to look like next season. We saw a lot of the effects with the transfer portal last season, Judah declaring for the draft and then heading to his other league. I'm more so just curious to see what this Orange atmosphere is going to be like next year. You've got a bunch of guys who
got Kyan coming in.
Individually can play well, but I haven't seen a lot of that team atmosphere like you were mentioning, Matt. Like, it just feels like a lot of hero shots being taken, people wanting to step up and be the one that's like JJ Starling listing 27 points average between the 2 Boston College games, but no one's really working together as a team. We're just not seeing that connected atmosphere. We're not seeing the reliability between all of these guys working together as a team and not just individuals.
Yeah, but it all starts tonight. See if they can get a win, get it done.
See if they can take their talents to South Beach, but we're going to take a quick break. Coming back, we'll discuss the women's team. Stick with us on ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon.
Syracuse basketball.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
Can you believe that, Izzy? That's crazy.
That's actually crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's wow.
Whoa.
Dang.
I can't believe it.
Wow.
All right.
I can't believe it.
All right.
I can't believe Good stuff. That was perfect.
As soon as you said, all right, can you believe it, Izzy? I'm like, all right, they're there.
I was like, dang. At least the women's team, 2 straight dubs.
2 in a row. I mean, they're playing well right now.
I was on the court when they won on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wake Forest.
That was a fun environment.
Shout out Dad, Wake Forest alum. We own you guys.
Oh, that's right. Your dad did go to Wake.
Yeah, he is a Wake guy.
It was a good game. A very slow start, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed by that.
It's fine.
Still won by 12. That was.
I know. Yeah. Once they started pulling away.
It should be another win against Stanford, and then Cal will be a tougher game. then UNC, then Duke, then Pitt. Yeah, it's a rough end to the season.
Yeah. The ACC's good, though, so, like, it's...
Yeah, ACC is really good. One of the better conferences.
Is there a reason we can't hear the feedback, Izzy? Can you hear the feedback of the...
Feedback of what?
Like the radio yeah.
No.
Don't they mute it until...
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
I'm gonna go blow my nose.
Who won the hard hat for... What was it, Kyra? Might have been Kyra.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Let me do some investigation.
It'd be great if I spelled Syracuse right.
Yeah. What does the Instagram handle start with? Is it SU? Why can I not find this?
I think.
Oh my gosh.
It's just S. Is it?
I don't
is
want
it Q's,
E.
Q's,
Oh, it might be Q's. You're so right.
I think it is.
Oh my gosh. I also keep hitting the letter E over and over again. Yep, Kyra got the hard hat. Oh, it's Sinai. Sorry. Whoa, that was really embarrassing. Sinai. Got it.
All
Sinai
right.
Wilson. Who ironically is not listed on here for team leaders.
Really?
Yeah. She made a lot of big plays, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that one, Sophie Burrows, up the paint, finds Georgia Woolley.
Yeah.
She took that shot right in front of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like right
wow.
in front of me. And I was so zoomed in that I had to like zoom out super quick and follow the ball. It was sick.
That's so sick.
Do we have any comments? Do we have any active listeners?
That may or may not be my mom. So,
wait, can we like see the video?
What did she say?
Wait, yeah.
Best video ever of Matt's phone.
Yeah, I can show you the video.
Oh my God, it's great.
It's so funny. Wait, are we? Yeah, this is.
The setup. Yeah. Oh, you were like far.
Yeah.
Yep. Quadier for 3. Oh my.
It literally, and it's just black for like a minute until some dude just picks it up.
That is so funny.
And then they took pictures with it.
Did you go on the court?
Hilarious.
No. I don't know who these people are. They just took pictures on my phone.
At least they gave it back.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to be at Citrus. We were watching that game, and we were all just like, "Oh, we're gonna lose. This is great." And then, sent it down to Quadier. They tackle him. It was beautiful.
That was such a good game.
You're locked. You're ready to go.
Just let me know when we're...
Welcome back inside the Newhouse Sports Media Center on ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Brooke Kilgore, Matt Lesnick, and Izzy Tsai here talking all Syracuse things sports. That was not said correctly, but everything Syracuse sports related. We've got the women's basketball team coming off a pretty nice win against Wake Forest on Sunday. I was actually there on the court. It was a really exciting experience, promoting breast cancer awareness and wearing their nice pink jerseys. Wake Forest actually wore their pink white alternates as well, which is just a really great community. A lot of people coming out, I believe. I also saw a flag of someone with like a pink American flag with Georgia Woolley on it. It was a really interesting atmosphere to be a part of. But what did you guys see from that game?
Look, another big game for Sophie Burrows. She had 15 points, 10 rebounds. She played really, really well. Georgia Woolley, as we just mentioned, the pride of America, it seems. She had 21 points. And Syracuse, they rode a big fourth quarter, outscoring the Demon Deacons 23-9. So that was a big catalyst for the victory. They get to 4-8 in conference play, and this is their second straight win. They had a big road win against Virginia Tech. They kept the momentum going against Wake Forest, and things are starting to look up a little bit for the end of the season.
They really are. And one thing that the Orange did well, they got to the line a lot, especially George Woolley. You got there 10 times, and that was the big difference, because if you look, Wake Forest outshot the Orange. They had a higher field goal percentage. They hit more threes, but the Orange got to the line 19 more times than them. And they hit 15 more free throws. So that, and what did the Orange do? They win by 12. So that was the big difference. And of course, they got off to a slow start, but they were able to take over towards the end of the second quarter, and they ended up pulling out the win.
Well, yeah, another big factor in why Wake Forest lost that game, 21 turnovers. Every one of their starters had at least 2 turnovers. In Syracuse, they turned the ball over 13 times, but if you turn the ball over 20 or more times in a basketball game,
you're not winning.
99% of the time, you're not going to win that game. So Syracuse, their defensive pressure, they did a good job of that, especially in the second half.
So, Matt, Izzy, what you guys are saying is to win a basketball game, you need to make your free throws and secure turnovers, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a campus-wide message, but we'll keep on going. One of the coolest moments about being there on the court, I was videoing this whole game. Sophie Burrows goes up the paint in the second half, finds Georgia Woolley, who sinks that nice three-pointer. You saw it all over across Instagram. That was just an incredible presence to be next to. I was only a couple feet away from that, and she was locked in. It was the most perfect connection I think I've seen in a while, but definitely I noticed not a lot of fouls in that first half. It was a very, very quiet day. I think Wake Forest really only had one, and then you get to the second half and it felt like Georgia was at the line every single time. I know not all the fouls were on her, but I just felt like every video I was taking of the free throw line was of Georgia Woolley. So I think she did an incredible job forcing that and then making most of her shots, if not all. So
yeah, and this Orange team, they're one fourth quarter meltdown against Virginia away from being on a 4-game winning streak, heading on the road to Stanford, which will be an important game. Stanford's 3-9 in conference play this year, 11-12 on the year. So Syracuse trying to get to 5-8. In the ACC. But yeah, they've played really, really well in their last 4 games. Been really, really impressed with them outside of that fourth quarter against Virginia. And it's been an up and down season for them, but like we said for the men's team, any momentum that you can get to end the season is important.
Agreed, and it looks like they're building some momentum. And you go into this Stanford game, and Stanford not having the best of seasons.
Not at all.
I mean, they sit below Syracuse in the ACC, 3-9 in conference play, 11-12 on the year, and their schedule not the hardest down the stretch, but it doesn't help that what they're going in with is not.
Exactly. And Syracuse, they do have Stanford coming up as their next game. And then after that, they play Cal, UNC, and then Duke. It's 3 of the better teams in the ACC. UNC and Duke are both ranked. So those will be 3 tough games for them. But again, Syracuse, they're looking to ride that momentum, right? So if they can get this win against Stanford, anything's possible. We've seen that throughout college basketball this season. But it's been really, really encouraging to see that they've kind of flipped the switch after a slow early to mid-season part of the season. These last 4 games have been a nice refresher.
Yeah, a little bit of a lull there, and I feel like we've seen that with a lot of the SU teams, but Felicia Leggett-Jack was really proud of her team in that press conference, just saying they're really winning in practice, they're really locking in, and you're going to start to see the effects. Of course, it's a little late in the season to really kind of start kicking into gear. I know we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, but in terms of what they're coming up against Stanford did a relatively good job against Louisville. It wasn't amazing. Of course, you're still down by 10, and they were down by as many as 20 at one point in that game. But they shot around 64% in the fourth quarter and 45.5% of the game. And the Cardinals' 9 steals were the most in conference and outscored Louisville 28-18 in points off of turnovers.
Yeah, and then the game before, though, Stanford suffered their worst loss in program history against Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame is one of the best teams in college basketball this year. Shout out Hannah Hidalgo, by the way, Jersey legend. 96-47. It was a bad game, but this is a game that the Orange should pull out, in my opinion.
I think so. I mean, the road games, they're coming off a road win in Virginia Tech. They won on the road against Clemson. Of course, a cross-country trip. Never the most fun thing for a basketball team.
To this California road trip.
Again, the All Coast Conference.
Yeah.
But they have momentum. They've won 2 in a row. They've won 3 of their last 4. They should be able to go in there and steal a win on the road.
Yeah, but, looking ahead to those ranked matchups that we just talked about, Syracuse this season, they've struggled in those ranked matchups. They lost to Maryland by 11. They lost to Notre Dame by 31. They lost to Georgia Tech by 17. And then they lost to NC State only by 8. They were ranked at the time. But, yeah, they've struggled against higher-level competition this year. So let's see if, they've learned their lessons from the first, 4 matchups that they had and, take those lessons into UNC and Duke.
I'd love to ask, now that we're really more than halfway throughout the season, and I'm sure it's a question that a lot of people are, kind of trying to answer themselves, who is filling in De'Asia Fair's spot so far? We've seen a little bit of Sophie Burrows, we've seen Georgia Woolley. In your guys' opinion, who is taking that shooter spot?
I think you just mentioned it. I think it's those two.
I'd agree.
And along with Kyra Wood, like we said, coming into the year, that it would be a committee to, fill the shoes of De'Asia Fair and what she's done for Syracuse. And it's been by committee. Some games it's been Georgia Woolley, some games it's been Kyra Wood, some games it's been Sophie Burrows, and even at times Isabel Verjao as well. She only played 4 minutes on Sunday, but she's been pretty solid throughout the season. So it's been a platoon of players, filling in that role. And that's what we wanted to see from the Orange, not just, relying on one player, because it felt like they were doing that a lot last season. So, having multiple contributors has been important for, Coach Jack to develop.
And of course, you lose one of the best players in college history. You're going to take a step back.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. So it's not that I didn't expect them to be maybe below 500, but I was expecting a step back.
Yes.
And that's what we've had. So it's a building year. It's a rebuilding year. But I can't say I'm disappointed with the performance of any of those three, Woolley, Wood, or Burrows.
Exactly. And, they just finishing the season strong. I feel like that's important. And winning the games you're supposed to win. And it starts with Stanford.
All right. Well, we are going to take a bit of a short break, but before we go, this hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more info. When we come back, we're going to be discussing a little bit of the NFL and NBA. We'll see you in a sec.
The Sports Show.
All right.
All good.
Also, I found the clip. Oh, wow. I'm really technologically challenged. Right there.
Oh, shoot.
I thought that was so sick. I was so far away from everything, too. Like, I didn't realize how much space I had between to go film that. But, yeah, she scared the crap out of me when the ball was passed, like, right in front of my face.
That's awesome. All right.
So, for the NFL, are we mentioning the Super Bowl at all?
I think we should, yeah.
Okay. Oh, and then the Jets, Aaron Rodgers news.
Yeah. That's what I have. Yeah, who will be the Jets, Giants quarterbacks?
I'm so excited for this FanGraph stuff.
Oh, me too.
What are we doing for the FanGraph?
So I have FanGraph has predicted what every team will finish as in every single division.
Okay.
And so I'll just ask you guys what your predictions are for those,
Okay.
and then I'll let you know if you're correct and how many wins and losses they're predicting.
Okay.
Okay. I would just do like division winners, I think, for that.
Can do that. The Diamondbacks are in a very nice place, so I'm happy to see
You
that.
guys had a good offseason.
We did. Josh Naylor reported today, which I was really
There you
excited
go.
about. Although I do miss Christian Walker. That was the worst birthday gift ever when they
he
announced he was
signed
going to the Astros. I was so mad. I was wearing a Christian Walker shirt too when that happened.
Oh, wow. That's
You got Corbin Burns too, though. So
Yeah, and
not Juan Soto,
I
though.
see consistency. Like Corbin Carroll is still in his prime and still
Yeah.
improving every day, but I'm
and
just
it was a sophomore slump. It's not like
Yeah.
it's.
yeah,
He'll be
it's
fine.
not
He'll
going to
be
be
fine.
anything crazy. But
Yeah.
Christian, so sad.
Yeah. I'm just so excited for Juan Soto, man.
It's gonna be.
I'm
so worried about the rotation, though.
Yeah, we were worried last year.
Yeah, but I don't know that the pitching lab can really. What can we do with Frankie Montes? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Like-
a great question. I believe, though.
I can only hope to believe. No, I mean, look.
We're definitely going to have to get an arm at some point at the deadline.
Look, if Senga can stay healthy, he's your ace. That's
Exactly,
obvious. If
yeah.
Sean Manaea can repeat what he did last year,
That's your second guy.
that's your second. David Peterson, I mean, like
He had a solid
good year,
He
but like
had a
I
good
don't
year,
know.
good postseason, too.
I mean, they want Clay Holmes to be in the rotation. Like, which I don't get. I don't think you can stretch him out to be a starter. And then Frankie Montes is like your 5.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to get an arm at some point.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you bring up Brandon Sprode at some point, and he becomes like
good.
Like he's supposed to be really good anyway.
Yeah, the lineup's looking nice though.
The lineup is so good.
Yeah, so lean on that.
Yeah, especially with Pete re-signing.
Yeah, Pete's re-signing. Yeah, Lindor's gonna lead off again. Probably gonna have Soto at the 2 hole, and then I don't know after that. Pete's always like 4 or 5. So
yeah, I mean he'll back clean up.
Yeah,
but, I mean you'll have Vientos in there.
Yeah,
obviously.
Vientos. Yeah,
You move him back to 3rd now because you've got Alonso in.
Yeah. Hopefully he's better at 3rd though. Yeah.
Who wants to intro? We should probably decide that.
You want to do it
for what?
When we come back.
Oh yeah. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Newhouse after what is it? 97.7.
97.7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right here. Perfect. I've never done that.
There you go.
It'll be my first time.
There we go.
Can't be worse than what I did.
No,
in sports stuff related.
Talk some NFL offseason. Matt's worst nightmare came true. Saquon, Super Bowl champion with the Eagles.
Dude.
Thank goodness. Sorry.
Look, was I at the time, was I upset? Like, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I understood letting him go.
Yeah,
because
just why Philly, though?
And it wasn't even that. I was like, I would have gone there, too.
Yeah.
But, and look, maybe I wasn't as mad as other Giants fans because I had him on my fantasy.
Watch your favorite
And I won
ESPN
the league.
Syracuse Sports
But now
Talk.
it's true. Now it's
SyracuseSportsTalk.com.
By the way, I think that letting McKinney go was the worst move. So.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Izzy C. Matt Lesnick, Brooke Kilgore. We have a lot of NFL to talk about. The Super Bowl was on Sunday. The Eagles winning their 2nd Super Bowl in 8 years. Saquon Barkley winning a ring in his first year in an Eagles uniform after leaving Matt's New York Giants. But yeah, no, it's not what we expected at all in that game. The Eagles dominating the Chiefs in all aspects. That's probably the worst I've seen Patrick Mahomes play. But what were your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I was just look, as a Giants fan,
Here we go.
I'll admit I was hate watching the Eagles so hard, and that was the least successful hate watch I've ever had.
Yeah.
But I can't look. They were from the get-go, and it had nothing to do. Look, you would expect the Eagles to have had like a dominant run offense right out the gate. No, their defense really just was the major factor in this game. And of course, Jalen Hurts played amazing. But I mean, you had Cooper DeJean pick 6, Zach Bond the pick early, and they set a momentum and a precedent, and the Chiefs just weren't able to come back from those early mistakes. And look, you mentioned it, Mahomes. It was one of the worst games I think I've ever seen.
I think it was the worst game I've seen him play.
It might have been. And it just, I think that this Eagles team, I had them coming out of the NFC to begin with, but they just played so well, and they got up. It was 40-6 at one point.
Yeah.
And there was just no chance for the Chiefs to come back, and the Philly just all out played well, and there's nothing the Chiefs really could have done.
It was a great defensive game plan for Vic Fangio, the Eagles defensive coordinator. Coming into the game, as the Broncos coach way back then, he was 0-8 against Mahomes. Now he gets to 1-8, but it feels like more than just 1-8 after that victory. He shut him down, and it was just a great game plan. And Saquon Barkley, as we mentioned, he didn't have that big run for like the first time since September. It felt like he was under 3 yards a carry. Kansas City made it a point, to stop him, but Jalen Hurts took well advantage. They had a lot of one-on-one matchups, with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Two of the best man coverage beaters that you can have in the NFL. So they had big games, and the defense, there's just not enough good things that we can say about that. But now the NFL offseason's here after 6 great months of football. Now we have 6 months off of football.
That we do, and the Bills came up just short.
Yeah.
And
again
to who else but Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But it feels like they've been, for a couple offseasons we've been saying they need this one piece and they'll get there.
Yeah.
And they haven't gotten there. So let's say it again.
Yeah, they need one piece, and that one piece is T. Higgins. They need to do whatever it takes to get T. Higgins, I feel like, because they need that field stretcher for Josh Allen's big arm. They need that guy that, can beat man coverage, that guy that can be a security blanket, and that's T. Higgins, in my opinion, one of the more underrated receivers in the NFL. I don't know what the Bills' money situation is looking like, but he's expected to command a lot on the open market. But, the chance to win a Super Bowl, the chance to get to a Super Bowl, that is something that not a lot of teams can offer. And I think that they should go after him. I feel like he's that piece.
Well, it's sounding like T. Higgins really does want to stay with Cincinnati. It's, it's out of his hands. He's mentioned that several times to the media, but it sounds like he does want to continue to play under Joe Burrow and stay with Jamar Chase and all of them as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what Buffalo's situation is. It was nice to see Josh Allen receive the MVP award from the NFL. It was a bit of a revenge party these past couple of weeks. The Eagles taking back their crown after the Chiefs took it away from them a couple of years ago, and then Josh Allen kind of rubbing it in, Patrick Mahomes' face there a little bit. But I'm just curious to see T. Higgins' situation, especially going on the market like that.
Yeah, he does want to stay in Cincinnati, but the question is, does Cincinnati want to pay him?
When your owner's Mike Brown, the answer is no.
Yeah, and they have yet to pay Jamar Chase. Hopefully they, rectify that in the coming months here. But yeah, like we said, the Bills, it always seems like they're a couple pieces away, but getting T. Higgins, I feel like will jumpstart that process. Moving to the other side of New York now, or New Jersey, the Jets and the Giants, both looking for quarterbacks this offseason. The Jets telling Aaron Rodgers yesterday that he will not be returning to the team next year. So now the Jets will have another new starting quarterback for the 2025 season. Who do you guys think the Jets will go after?
I feel like this is a really hard conversation. Tyrod Taylor, 35 years old, had 58 career starts, but has just been battling injuries. And it's the same with their 2024 fifth-round pick, Jordan Travis, who also had a devastating lower left leg injury as well. So I feel like they're going to have to turn towards the 2025 free agent market. I mean, we saw Kirk Cousins kind of get shaken away from the Falcons, who are now committed to Michael Penix. Go Huskies. Really love to see him succeed. But that was definitely a bit of an interesting situation from that last draft kind of coming into the offseason. But the free agent market right now is really thin. Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones are kind of the top names right now. Darnold's coming off a career year with the Minnesota Vikings, and he has a lot of interest, but there's a little chance of him re-signing with the Jets. Like, that's what I'm seeing at least.
The market there for the Jets, like you mentioned, it's very thin. Mm-hmm. And I don't see them drafting a quarterback. I don't see them.
I don't see it either.
You might have to just roll with Tyrod Taylor for a season, because he's under contract. It's not the worst situation in the world. I still believe he could give you a good season. Not great, but the other name, that could be thrown out there, Justin Fields.
Yeah,
we've been seeing him, a lot of talk about him potentially being a Jet quarterback.
Jameis Winston's another name.
Jameis Winston, who wants to go to the Giants.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's been saying throughout Super Bowl Media Week how he'd love to be a Giant.
Yeah.
If you want to, man.
Say that. Yeah, not a lot of NFL players
probably disclosing that. Yes.
No, but yeah, Justin Fields, like you mentioned, I don't think that would be a bad idea for the Jets to take a flyer on him. He showed some flashes of improved play when he was the starter for 6 games for the Steelers. And they went back to Russell Wilson, and they rolled with him for the rest of the season. But Justin Fields, I feel like there's some untapped potential there. And I feel like with the right coaching staff and the right scheme, I feel like that he can be a solid starter in the NFL. We saw what the Vikings did with Sam Darnold. So maybe somebody could do that with Justin Fields.
Now, do you believe that, look, the Jets just hired Aaron Glenn as head coach. Mm-hmm. From what we're seeing, he is like Dan Campbell light, where he's just going to bring the fire. Mm-hmm. Do you see...
Which is what this Jets team needs.
100%.
They need a disciplinarian. Yeah, they need that.
Do you see Fields succeeding under... who did they just bring in as offensive coordinator?
Tanner Engstrand. I think... Look, when you bring in... This is going to be his first time calling plays, Engstrand, right? So... Yeah. Whenever you have a first-time play caller, it's always tough. There's always going to be those growing pains. But we did see, with C.J. Stroud and Bobby Slowick, although Slowick did get fired this offseason, he was a first-time play caller, and he was able to, elevate Stroud's game. I'm not saying Engstrand's going to do that, but, there's always that chance, that his scheme, ends up being a hit year one. And, we'll see what kind of quarterback they're going to be looking for. Like you said, I don't think that they're going to be looking for one in the draft because I think by the time they pick, the top prospects will be gone.
Yep.
And you don't want to take, like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe in the top 10. You don't want to do that. So maybe taking them in the second or third round and then bringing in a veteran, having them sit behind them for a year, that wouldn't be a bad idea as well. Or you just wait for 2026 and hope you can get Arch Manning.
No, definitely. Also, the thing about Justin Fields is, are the Jets going to try to become a more run-heavy offense? Are they going to try and move a little bit away from the passing, considering Aaron Rodgers and the Jets did struggle a little bit there? I mean, if you're trying to implement that kind of offense, Justin Fields would be a great match for that. Over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns just 2 seasons ago, and had 231 under the Steelers in 2024. But the problem is he does have his shortcoming as a passer, as Izzy did mention. 61% of his passes were completed throughout the season. So it really just depends on what Glenn really wants this offense to look like.
Yeah, and we said it during football season. The Jets needed a culture center. They needed somebody that can revitalize this franchise, and nothing better to do that than a guy who played for the team, a guy who bleeds green, in Aaron Glenn. It's going to take some time, even for Dan Campbell, his head coach. It took a lot of time for the Lions, to be this powerhouse, and we only been seeing that for the last 2 or 3 years. So it's going to take time for Aaron Glenn. We'll see if the Jets ownership is patient with him, because we know Woody Johnson loves to make impulsive decisions, and we know that his son likes to make decisions off of Madden ratings. So we'll see, if Aaron Glenn gets the right tools to succeed with this Jets franchise.
Now, one thing you had mentioned was with the Jets potentially moving to a more run-heavy offense. I'd love to see that, but the line was so bad last year.
I know.
And you have
which
Breece
sucks
Hall.
Because they put in a lot of resources.
They put in a lot. I mean, Tyron Smith was making $20 million a year. He gets hurt. He's out for the year. You drafted Olu Fashanu, who wasn't the starter right off the bat, and had to wait for injuries to kind of,
And then he got hurt.
And Breece Hall was down to a career low 4.2 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And look, those first 7 games of Breece Hall when he first got drafted were some of the best by a rookie running back I think I've ever seen. Then the ACL tear, and he hasn't quite been the same, but the line, he got a lot of production in the receiving game as well, but I if the line doesn't get better, he's not going to continue to improve as following that injury. And it's a shame, because he's one of the most talented running backs in the league, but I don't know that a run-heavy Jet offense is possible behind that offensive line.
Yeah, one last thing. I just think this Jets offense as a whole could look a lot different next year, because we don't know if Devontae Adams is going to end up staying. I highly doubt that he will. Garrett Wilson, there have been rumblings that he might request a trade. Like we said, the quarterback position, there's going to be a new starter there next year. The offensive line's probably going to look a lot different. So this offense, it could have a lot of new faces come next year, and we'll see what Jets management does. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a pivotal offseason for them.
All right. Well, we are going to take our last break of our Newhouse afternoon session with you guys today. You're listening on Q Sports. You can listen on QSportsTalk.com on ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is former Syracuse basketball player.
You gotta just do some sort of.
They used my clip.
The novel concept. It is. I didn't lie.
I love that. That's so funny.
Wait for us.
I know, I mute like immediately.
Yeah,
Nobody needs to.
Wait for us.
Sorry. It's cracking me up. Cedric, are you going to the parade on Friday? You are? Okay, sick. I hope that's super fun. That's a good time. I hope that's a good time.
Gotta get there at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Just to get a spot, like for the...
Starts at 10, I gotta get there at 5.
Oh my gosh. Are you like setting up a tent, or are you just like sitting the whole time? You're standing. Okay. Have you seen all the videos of Philadelphia fans like climbing City Hall?
My friend he goes to Villanova, so he was in downtown Philly when they won.
I'll cry.
No, even my friend, he goes to Penn State. Like, he sent us like an email they got, and it was like they called in like the riot squad. And I'm like, what?
Even if they lost, like it was going to be
still gonna
just
be like,
as crazy.
Yeah. Look at Drake's Instagram.
What?
Just look at Drake's Instagram.
Just look at it. Champagne. This one?
No.
Is it pinned?
Yep.
I've been waiting for this.
Yep.
Party Next Door and Drake, baby.
Did you guys like the halftime show? I should probably ask that.
I did. I personally did.
liked it.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're gonna say.
Look, no, because I like Kendrick. I just think, and the message was good too. I really liked it. I just think he could have performed some better songs.
I agree. I think he did do too much off GNX.
Yeah. Too much off GNX. I think he could have brought out Keem for Family Ties. I think that would have been cool. That would have been lit. And then he could have performed like All Right or something. I know he did that at the last Super Bowl, but that's one of his hits. But yeah, no, bringing out SZA was cool though. I love SZA. SZA is. I love SZA so much. Love her music. But yeah, no, I think it was a solid halftime show. I just think it could have been better. I think he could have done a lot better. That's my opinion.
It's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I don't know. I thought it was. I thought it was good, and I think it was he was more so trying to send the message. I think.
I liked the message behind it.
Which, if that was the case, then yeah.
I didn't even see the necklace until someone, or the chain until someone pointed it out to me.
I think that was. I don't think that had anything to do with the A minor. I think it was like the brand. I think it was his label.
Yeah.
I would have had no idea.
Yeah, it looked like the Amazon A.
Yeah, that's what I was at first, and I was like, oh, it's PG Lang.
Yeah.
What did you say, Mike? So I can tell Matt.
I would have loved that as well.
Wanted to hear Mad
City.
I would have loved to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Triple X off of Damn.
Oh, that's. I thought that's a song he would play because that's like a.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Kendrick song. So that's.
I love Damn so much.
It's such a good album.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
We're gonna come back talking about
that's great.
87.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, welcome back to ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Matt Lesnick alongside Brooke Kilgore, Izzy Sy. We're going to get into some MLB talk. Pitchers and catchers are starting to report. Now, Brooke, you've pulled up the Fangraphs.
Fangraphs, yes, the most reliable website on the face of the planet. They have put together an extensive list of how they think every single team will finish in the division leaders for every single division. That's a little redundant, but division leaders, we're going to get to it. These two are going to guess who they think the division leader is going to be for every single one of them, and hopefully they can guess correctly how many wins the team is going to pull out of all 162 games. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
We're so ready? All right. The AL East.
Yankees, I think they have them winning 97 games.
I'll say 99.
94 games.
94.
They're projecting 94 games, 68 losses. I would say about that. So they're projected, that's their 2024 year to date. 2025 projected rest of the season, 87 wins, 75 losses.
Okay. All right.
So, Yankees first place. Following that, Red Sox, Orioles, Rays, and Blue Jays.
I know the Red Sox made big improvements. I mean, you got Garrett Crochet, you brought in Garrett Crochet and among other guys, but I still see the Orioles did not have a good offseason, but I could still see them finishing ahead of the Red Sox.
They still got a ton of young talent though. Yeah. So, and year 3 for some of these guys as their core. So I think that they're still going to be in the mix for first place.
I agree.
All right. The AL Central.
I'll say the Guardians.
Yeah, okay. I'll also say the Guardians. I'll go with 89 games.
Actually, no, I'm changing. I think the Tigers, and I'm going to say 88.
Okay, you both are wrong. They have the Minnesota Twins sitting at 83 wins and 79 losses.
Interesting.
The Tigers
83 wins, you said?
83 wins.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yes. The Tigers at 82 wins, 80 losses, and the Guardians at 4th place, 77 wins, 85 losses.
I think they're severely underrating that division as a whole. What do they have? The Royals?
They have the Royals at 3rd place with 81, but 81 both.
I must have not heard, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're severely underrating that division. It's one of the best in baseball.
I was
going to
say, I think the Royals are going to take a step forward. I honestly think that they're going to, maybe even not top last year, but be somewhat close to that.
I mean, when you have one of the best players in baseball, with
Bobby Witt
Witt,
Jr. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a little low for almost every team in that division, maybe except the White Sox, which could always be lower.
Yeah, it's very, very fair.
All the Chicago fans are punching a little bit. The AL West.
I think it's neither one of the Texas teams.
I'll say, I'll stick with the Astros.
The Astros.
I'll say 87.
Okay.
I'll go Rangers. I'll go 86.
See, you were so close. You were one game off. 85 wins for the Rangers is what they're predicting. Good to see. The Mariners are in 2nd place, 84 wins, 78 losses. The Astros, 84, 78. And then the A's fall 76, 86. Angels, 76, 86.
I'm excited to see how the A's are because they finally put some money into the team, after they leave Oakland. But,
of course.
But
just as one, last. Yeah, can't say that on air.
But 76 wins for that team. I think we saw a lot of young talent last year, and they play it towards the end, especially the guys like Lawrence Butler, Brett Rooker. I'm excited. They bring in Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs. I'm excited to see how they do.
Yeah, no, Severino, former Met from last year. Hopefully to continue the momentum with the A's. But yeah, I think they got that right with the Angels finishing last.
Oh no, the signing of Kenley Jansen won't make a difference. 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah, give me a break.
Yeah.
All
right. The NL East.
I don't think they're going to have the Mets at first. I'll say the Braves.
Okay.
They love the Braves.
What's your win-loss category?
93.
I'm going to go with the Braves. I'm going to go 95.
Okay, so I think Matt was hacking my computer while reading that. You got that exactly
really?
correct.
Oh,
so the Braves with 93 losses, 93 wins, 69 losses. Phillies 87-75. The Mets 87-75. 3rd place, ironically not dead last. The Nationals 73-89, and the Marlins 71-91.
I think.
How did you get that?
I don't know. I feel like they don't go for like those super high numbers or those super low numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, look, it's the Braves. They're always going to have a stranglehold on that division.
Acuna coming back as well.
Acuna's coming back, and they've made other improvements. I mean, you lost Max Fried. That's going to hurt. But I still don't see that being enough to defer a division title.
It's going to be a competitive division.
It will.
Between those 3 teams, the Mets, the Phillies, and the Braves. So I'm really, really excited for that.
I do think the Mets finish ahead of the Phillies, though. I don't think they did anything too of note.
Yeah.
So I'll say it'll be Braves, Mets, Phillies, and then Nationals, Marlins. I agree with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to see some agreement there. The NL Central.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cubs, 85.
87.
Okay. Izzy was closer that time. Cubs 84 wins, 78 losses. You guys are really honing in on this.
So that's about where I would have them as well.
I mean, I don't think
they lost Bellinger, but I mean, still
but they bring in.
Yeah, they bring in a lot.
They bring in Kyle Tucker. I mean, that's a
sneaky MVP pick.
I would say so
for Kyle Tucker. I think he's gonna have an amazing season.
I do too. And look, that's a division that I think that's going to be probably the weakest division come this season. Obviously, look, every team's got to have a team that's represented, or every division's got to have a team that's represented. And I think, look, I mean, the Reds made some improvements. The Cardinals are not. The Cardinals are going to, I think, are going to finish last. Do they have them finishing last?
3rd place.
Really?
Yes.
Who's last?
78-84. The Pirates finished last.
I don't know about that.
They have the last 3, Cardinals, Reds, and Pirates, all 78-84.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing with the Pirates. The lineup isn't there, but you have the best 3-headed monster in the MLB in that rotation.
Yeah.
And they're just so good.
Yeah, and Skeen's here too. I'm so excited. Yeah. No, I think in those 3, I would put Pirates, Reds, Cardinals. That would be.
I would agree with that.
That would be my order.
All right, we are moving on to The NL West.
Dodgers.
West Best.
Dodgers.
What's your
105.
I'm going to go 103.
96.
Wow.
66.
Okay.
They're
The
always.
Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
What do they got Diamondbacks? What do you?
86, 76.
I
So
think they'll make the playoffs.
I see them as
I
a
think so
wild
as well.
card, honestly.
I do too.
I see
I
them
think the Diamondbacks will make the playoffs.
definitely.
I think they had a great offseason.
They just missed out on it last year. So
Yes,
and they
just
only
barely.
improved. Did lose Christian Walker, but I think they will be fine. They'll be fine. They'll make the playoffs. But yeah, I think the Dodgers are going to run away with that division.
I honestly see Josh Naylor coming in and filling Walker's spot phenomenally.
I do too. I think
Josh Naylor's about as good of a replacement as you can get. But the Dodgers are just
they're just phenomenal, and we can't disagree with that. As much as I hate to say
coming
that,
off a World Series, and Ohtani is going to be pitching this year.
You add
Blake Snell.
Yep.
You add Roki Sasaki.
Yeah.
it's they're just again deferred money.
Yeah.
Will something be done? I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's just like when you play an NFL franchise in Madden and you turn off the salary cap. That's basically what the Dodgers have been doing. But yeah, no, I think that they're probably going to be the best team in baseball again this year. But no, a lot to look forward to.
A lot.
Definitely
I'm
a lot.
Really excited. That means warmer weather is coming very, very
yeah,
soon.
spring training starts in a couple of weeks.
It's the best time of year.
Yeah.
That's going to do it, though, for ESPN 97 Newhouse Afternoons. Stick with us as the sports show with Cody Mack is next. But again, I'm Matt Lesnick, Brooke Kilgore, Izzy Sy. Have a great day.
This is Orange Nation.
Bring on the 4-time All-American Rick Beardsley. Yes, go ahead,
We are
Paul.
going to